My sister used me as free childcare, so I showed her the price. The very same day my older sister became pregnant, she decided I should press pause on my life to care for her child. It didn't matter if it was a holiday or my own wedding. Being babysitter took priority, and I needed to get that. Trisha's entitlement started before her baby even arrived. She showed up at my apartment one evening with this color-coded binder. She flipped it open and started explaining my new babysitting schedule. Tuesday and Wednesday nights were my overnight shifts because those were her nights off. Fridays through Sundays I had the morning slots so she could sleep in. Christmas Day was marked in bright red with all-day coverage written across it. I actually laughed when I saw it, but she didn't. The next week she posted on Facebook about how blessed she was to have family stepping up. She tagged me in this long post about how I'd already agreed to help raise her baby. My phone blew up with relatives commenting about what a wonderful aunt I was. When I called her to ask what the hell she was thinking, she said Mom already knew about the arrangement. And Mom did know. She called me that night to remind me that family helps family. After the baby was born, things went from annoying to insane. When little Mason was 6 months old, Trish showed up at my office during a client presentation. Someone knocked on the conference room door and mouthed emergency. That emergency turned out to be Trish in the lobby with Mason in his carrier. Perfect timing, she said, checking her phone. My appointment is in 20 minutes. What appointment? My manicure. I just remembered how badly I needed one. She was out the door before I could process what happened. But that wasn't even the final straw. You see, my best friend from college was getting married and I was her maid of honor. But minutes before we were set to head inside, I heard crying from the parking lot. Me and everyone else turned to look, and there was Trish, pushing Mason's stroller. She handed me a note that said, "Handle this, I have a date," and left. Mason was screaming. Everyone was looking at me like, what the hell? And that's when I noticed these finger-shaped bruises on Mason's arms for the first time. I had to spend the wedding ceremony in the bathroom trying to comfort Mason. As if this wasn't bad enough, my mother was practically Trish, just older. She started bringing Mason to my apartment unannounced. I'd come home from work to find her on my couch with him. The second she'd see me, she'd drop everything and leave. Didn't ask if it was convenient, didn't give me money, just up and left. The worst about was how Mason flinched whenever someone moved too fast. He was clearly not taken care of properly. Always hungry, his clothes dirty more often than clean. Everything came to a head when I announced my trip to Germany. My fiancé proposed 8 months ago during his last visit, and we hadn't seen each other since. The distance was killing us, and I'd saved every penny to afford the trip. When I told family, Trish's response was immediate. She booked her own vacation for the same dates. Guess you'll have to reschedule, she laughed during dinner. I already put my deposit down. Mom nodded, saying family comes first, and I could see my fiancé anytime. They had my babysitting schedule all planned out. I remember being furious, and for the first time ever, I said no. I wasn't watching the kid. I had my own life to live. I should have known from how quickly they said that was fine, and they'd find someone else. They had something planned. I didn't hear from them until the morning of my flight. I woke at 4:47 to blood-curdling screams outside my door. I was terrified, so I walked to the door in my pajamas slowly. I opened the letter slot and peeked through it, and that's when I saw it. It was Mason, alone on my doorstep in just a diaper and t-shirt. I opened the door and saw the note taped to his shirt. "Thanks for watching him." I was shocked. I took Mason in and felt how freezing he was. I wrapped him in a warm blanket and started soothing him with one arm, while with the other I picked up the phone and called my boyfriend. He knew about the Trish situation, and when I told him what was happening, he didn't even hesitate. Just said he was booking the next flight here. He sent me confirmation of a flight in 5 hours time within minutes, and that's when I got to work. I checked the security camera outside my house, which showed Trish dropping Mason at 4:31 a.m. at my door. She didn't even knock, just left him and ran back to her car. I repeat, she left her infant outside in just a t-shirt in the middle of January without knowing if anyone was even home. CPS arrived within minutes. The woman took one look at Mason's bruises and the security footage and called for emergency removal. They took Mason away that morning. Trish actually texted me when she landed, asking how he was, and when I bluffed that he was fine, she thumbs up my message. I didn't hear from her for the entire 2 weeks, and when she came back, she waited another 2 whole days to come get him, but then she showed up. Why don't I see Mason anywhere? Full story on channel, linked below.